The mint green walls of Boston Children's Hospital had become all too familiar to Emma. She slumped in the hard plastic chair, mindlessly flipping through a dog-eared magazine while waiting for Dr. Roberts. 6 months. 6 months of watching her daughter Lily get weaker despite the treatments. Ms. Mitchell? The nurse's gentle tone made Emma's stomach clench. She followed her down the hallway, each step heavier than the last. Dr. Roberts didn't waste time with small talk. The current treatment isn't working like we hoped. He spread out several charts. There's a promising new protocol in Europe, but insurance won't cover it, Emma finished. Her throat felt raw. How much? Around $2 million. Emma let out a harsh laugh. I've already mortgaged the house, sold my car. The GoFundMe barely covered last month's bills. How long? The words scraped out. 6 months, maybe 8. She rode the subway home in a daze, staring at an email from her friend Jenna without really seeing it. Something about marriage citizenship and wealthy foreigners looking for American wives. Quick marriages, big payouts. Emma stared at her laptop screen late that night, wine glass in hand. The website looked professional enough, though something about scrolling through profiles of wealthy men seeking quick marriages made her feel dirty. Most were obvious scams, but one caught her eye. James Chen, 38, tech CEO. No photo, minimal details, but offering enough money to cover Lily's treatment several times over. This is insane, she muttered, but her finger hovered over the contact button. The photo on her desk showed Lily at Disney last year, before the diagnosis, all gap-toothed smiles and princess crown. Now her baby could barely muster the energy to get out of bed. She clicked the button before she could talk herself out of it. The response came the next morning, short and businesslike. Meet at 2 p.m. Four Seasons lobby, public place at least. Emma spent her morning teaching 3rd grade on autopilot, barely registering her students' chatter. By the time she walked into the hotel lobby, her hands were shaking so badly she had to clench them into fists. A man rose from one of the leather chairs. As he turned, Emma felt the floor drop out from under her. She knew that face, not from the website, from 10 years ago, from a summer that had changed everything. "Hello, Emma," said Alexander Drake. It's been a long time. The shock hit her like a physical blow. Alexander Drake, not James Chen. The same intense gray eyes, sharp jawline, though his dark hair had threads of silver now. 10 years hadn't changed him as much as it should have. This has to be a mistake, she managed. No mistake. He gestured to the chair across from his. We should talk. Emma sat, her mind spinning through memories she'd tried hard to forget. That summer in Martha's Vineyard when she was waiting tables to pay for graduate school. Walks on the beach, stolen kisses behind the restaurant, promises that turned out to be lies. Until the morning, she found nothing but a hastily scrawled note about family obligations. You're behind that profile? James Chen? Her voice came out sharp. I've been looking for you for years, Emma. Looking for me? She almost laughed. You knew exactly where I was that summer. You chose to leave. Wait. His hand moved toward her but stopped short. Please, let me explain. Something in his voice made her pause. My father was dying. The company was in chaos. There were people who would have destroyed everything my family built, including anyone close to me. And you couldn't have told me this? They were watching everyone I contacted. I thought I was protecting you. He ran a hand through his hair. Such a familiar gesture it made her chest ache. By the time things stabilized, you'd moved, changed your number. I've had people searching ever since. So you created a fake profile to lure unsuspecting women into marriages? Emma shook her head. That's not protection. That's manipulation. No. I created it after we finally traced you to Boston, when I learned about Lily. His voice softened on her daughter's name. Emma went cold. How do you know about my daughter? I have resources. I know about her condition, the treatments. He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo from last week. Lily in the hospital garden with her stuffed giraffe. She has your smile. Are you stalking us? Monitoring, he corrected, though he had the grace to look uncomfortable. Making sure you were both safe. I wasn't going to interfere, but when I saw how serious her condition had become. He paused. The marriage offer is real. No strings. No strings. Emma's laugh was bitter. There are always strings, Alexander. You're right. I should be honest. He leaned forward. I never stopped thinking about you. Walking away was the biggest mistake of my life. But this isn't just about us. My company developed that European treatment Lily needs. We can start her on it immediately. Emma's world tilted. What? No marriage required for that, he said quietly. Lily gets the treatment regardless of what you decide about us. That evening, Emma sat in the familiar hospital chair beside Lily's bed, watching her daughter sleep. The steady beep of monitors had become a sort of twisted lullaby over the past months. Mr. Spots, the stuffed giraffe, was tucked under Lily's thin arm. She'd spent hours researching Alexander Drake after leaving the hotel. Chief Executive Officer of Drake Industries, major player in biotech. His company really was behind the European protocol she'd been desperately trying to access. Mommy? Lily's voice was drowsy. Why are you still here? It's late. Just thinking, baby. Emma smoothed her daughter's hair back. About the man who visited today? Emma's hand froze. What man? The one who talked to Dr. Roberts? He was nice? Lily hugged Mr. Spots closer. He knew all about giraffes, said his company makes special medicine that helps kids get better. Of course, he'd already been here. Emma wasn't sure whether to be angry or touched that he'd taken the time to actually meet Lily, to talk to her on her level. What did you think of him? She found herself asking. He seemed sad, like he missed someone. Lily's eyes were drifting shut. Kind of like how you get sad sometimes, looking at old pictures. The next morning, Emma arrived early to her classroom, hoping to grade some papers before her students arrived. Instead, she found herself staring at Alexander's business card, turning it over and over in her hands. The embossed letters caught the fluorescent light. Alexander Drake, CEO, Drake Industries. She picked up her phone and dialed before she could talk herself out of it. He answered immediately. You went to see my daughter without telling me. I did. He didn't try to deny it. I needed to see her for myself, to understand. Understand what? Everything. Who she is. What she needs. He paused. What you've been going through alone. Emma pressed her fingers to her temple. Why did you really come back, Alexander? The truth. Because I can help. Because I have the means to make sure Lily gets better. Another pause. And because letting you go was the biggest regret of my life. But Lily's treatment isn't conditional on anything else. That happens either way. If, and it's a big if, we try this, it has to be real, Emma said. Lily's been through enough. I won't have her getting attached to someone who's going to disappear again. Have dinner with me tonight, both of you. Let's start there. Emma glanced at the clock. Lily has treatment at 4. She's usually wiped out after. I'll bring dinner to the hospital then. Whatever she wants. Pizza, Emma said automatically. It's the only thing she can usually keep down after treatment. Pizza it is. That evening, Alexander showed up with not just pizza, but a whole picnic setup for the hospital garden. Lily's favorite spot. He'd brought a soft blanket, battery-operated candles, and even paper crowns from Burger King, remembering how Lily had mentioned loving princesses. You didn't have to do all this, Emma said as he sat up. I wanted to. He looked over at Lily, who was examining the crowns with more energy than she usually had post-treatment. How are you feeling, kiddo? Tired, but not as yucky as usual. Lily put on a crown. Did you bring the special medicine you told me about? Alexander nodded, pulling out a vial. Dr. Roberts and I talked it over. We can start tomorrow if you want. Emma's breath caught. Already? But the approval process. I expedited it, called in some favors. Lily's been accepted into the trial program. Will it make me feel better? Lily asked, her voice small but hopeful. It's helped a lot of other kids, Alexander answered carefully. We'll have to be patient, but yes, I think it will help you feel much better. Emma watched them interact, noting how Alexander didn't make false promises or talk down to Lily. He explained things simply but honestly, the way she'd always tried to do. Over pizza and juice boxes, Lily gradually perked up, telling Alexander about her favorite books and shows. He listened intently, asking questions that showed he was really paying attention, not just humoring her. Mom, Lily whispered when Alexander stepped away to take a call. I like him. He doesn't treat me like I'm broken. Emma's throat tightened. That simple observation from her 7-year-old hit home. After months of pitying looks and careful conversations, Alexander treated Lily like a person first, patient second. Later, after Lily had fallen asleep, Emma found Alexander still in the garden. Thank you, she said quietly, for tonight, for everything. Don't thank me yet, he turned to face her. This is just the beginning, if you'll let it be. The next few weeks brought a careful routine. Alexander showed up for every treatment, somehow managing to run his company from his laptop in Lily's hospital room. He learned her schedule, knew when she needed quiet and when she needed distraction. He brought new books, learned her favorite stories, and never missed bringing pizza on treatment days. Emma watched him one evening, reading to Lily while her latest treatment dripped through the IV. The change in her daughter was already noticeable, not just from the medicine, but from having someone else in her corner. Her numbers are improving significantly, Dr. Roberts had told them that morning. The treatment is working better than we expected. Later, after Lily had drifted off to sleep, Emma found Alexander in their usual spot in the garden. I've been thinking, she said quietly, about us, about how you've proven yourself these past weeks. She turned to face him, not just with the treatment, with everything. But marriage is different. It's not something we should rush into just because of circumstances. I agree completely, Alexander said. I don't want to rush anything, but I also don't want to lose you again. He paused, choosing his words carefully. These weeks with you and Lily, they've shown me what I really want. Not just making up for past mistakes, but building something real. And what happens when Lily's better? When the crisis is over? Emma voiced the fear that had been nagging at her. Real life isn't hospital rooms and dramatic gestures. No, it's school runs and grocery shopping and disagreeing about what movie to watch. He smiled slightly. I want all of that too. With both of you, Emma found herself smiling back, despite her reservations. Lily asked me yesterday if you were going to be around for her school play next month. She's playing a tree. I wouldn't miss it. His expression turned serious. Emma, I'm not asking for an immediate answer. Take all the time you need. Just know that whether we end up together or not, I'm committed to Lily's recovery. That won't change. I talked to my grandmother about all this, Emma said after a moment. Know what she said? What did she say? She said sometimes life gives us second chances, not because we deserve them, but because we need them. Emma took a deep breath. I think she's right. Lily needed this chance to get better. And maybe we need a second chance too. Alexander's face softened. Are you saying? I'm saying yes. Not to getting married right away. We need time to figure this out properly. But yes to trying. Yes to seeing where this goes. She met his eyes. But you have to be sure. Because Lily comes first. Always. Always, he agreed. We'll take it one day at a time. 3 months later, Lily performed in her school play. From the audience, Emma watched her daughter, healthy, energetic, beaming in her tree costume, and felt Alexander squeeze her hand. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was something better, a real beginning.